So what does he add to you? Because what I think is interesting is Garrett Wilson is a really nice player, and he's young. I don't think he wants to take a back seat to anybody. He and Aaron are just forged this relationship. But what does Devontae add maybe the Jets don't have?
Yeah, I'll answer it this way. And first, I want to say that I thought Aaron Rodgers threw the ball exceptionally well in that game against Buffalo. He made some throws that were really high-level throws, which we know he can make. But I think when you look at the combination of Wilson and Adams, what Adams gives you is a true X receiver to the boundary side of the formation, the short side of the field. He can win one-on-one. And, of course, he did that when he was in Green Bay with Aaron for 8 years, and that's what he can do. Garrett Wilson, and I love Garrett Wilson. I loved him coming out of college. I love the way in which he plays. I think he probably fits best, Colin, as more of that movement Z receiver, the guy you line up on the strong side of the formation. You use him in motion. You get him free access into his routes. He's got great quickness. I think that this gives them that true boundary X, which is what they thought they were getting with Mike Williams. Now, Mike Williams is not that guy. He's late in his career. He's been injured a lot. Obviously, he's not the guy, and that's why they made the trade for Davante Adams. But now I think that's what it gives them. It gives them that true boundary X that can win one-on-one. And one thing about Rodgers, and the quarterbacks who play in this league for a while understand it, is when it's one-on-one, you've got to throw the ball. It's up to your receivers to win. It's not up to you to win. You throw the ball to the one-on-one matchups.
Okay, so I really wanted to highlight this because I talked about Aaron Rodgers, and especially versus the Bills and all that, and people really leaned in on me in the comments section because I said that Aaron Rodgers has actually been playing great, and just look at the game against the Bills, that he's been awesome in the throws that he was making, and people were like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Of course, calling me a clown. They said I was biased. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fanboy, which makes zero sense because I am 1,000% not an Aaron Rodgers fanboy, and by no stretch of the imagination. And for some reason, people were really angry that I said that Aaron actually looks good. And then, what do we have Greg Cosell say? Let's listen to it one more time.
Yeah, I'll answer it this way. And first, I want to say that I thought Aaron Rodgers threw the ball exceptionally well in that game against Buffalo. He made some throws that were really high-level throws, which we know he can make.
Exceptionally well. So, I mean, I guess Greg Cosell is really biased, and I guess he's an Aaron Rodgers fanboy or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, it's just people, you know what I realized? I guess I always saw the media hate Aaron Rodgers for various reasons, whatever it may be, for some obvious reasons that we all know that I'm not going to talk about. I'm going to keep this all politics free. But then it just dawned on me that a lot of fans are like that as well. Like I don't know why I missed that. I always thought for some reason that it was more just the media and, you know, for all these reasons. And then I realized, oh, right. A lot of fans also fundamentally hate Aaron Rodgers, right? They hate Aaron Rodgers for whether it's on the field or off the field. Again, I don't care because I don't care outside of something doing something terrible and awful. I don't care what your personal views are as a football player. Like I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Okay? If you believe Mars has a secret society living on there and all that, that's awesome. More power to you. As long as you're not doing harm with those views and trying to convince kids all around the world that that's the reality. Like I just do not care. I do not care. I'm here to watch you play football. I'm here to watch you do awesome things on a football field. But it just registered to me, and because I was getting such random hate for it, I was like, I don't understand. We're just talking about a football player here, and they're like, you're so biased. And I'm like, I don't biased for what? Like I don't understand. And then they're like, what were you watching if you think Aaron Rodgers still has it? He's clearly washed and an awful quarterback, and it's just like, okay, sure, whatever you say. And so after the other day, I was making food, and so I just actually had this on the background, and I was like, oh, I want to see what Greg Cosell has to say, because I think he does an awesome segment with Colin. And I was cooking food, and so I just had it on in the background, and then he says this, and I was like, oh my god, I was literally like kind of cleaning something up in the sink, and I turned off the sync so I could like rewind it and hear it really loud and clear. And I was like, thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg Cosell. Thank you. And I was like, I definitely got to turn this into a clip right now, because I trust Greg Cosell's eye in the sky, his ability to break down the film and know who's an elite thrower, who's great, who's playing exceptionally well versus not, right? Like I trust his view over mine. If I said, hey, I think Aaron Rodgers played really well, and he came out and said Aaron Rodgers is clearly struggling, that game versus the Bills was clearly he had nothing left in the tank, I don't know what he was doing, blah, 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 then I would say, okay, you know what? Let me reevaluate my own opinion. Right? Let me reevaluate my own opinion, and I would probably most likely change my opinion and more be like, okay, I see what he's saying now. Okay, I agree. I go back on what I said. I thought I was seeing something that I didn't, right? Like I will defer to a higher authority when it makes sense to do so. And so to see him kind of echo what my own thoughts were, what my own mind was, because he kind of has the approach where he says this, which I think is pretty interesting. He says, and I've said this now a few times because I just really, really love it. I should isolate it in a clip. But he said, I look at the tape and then I look for stats to validate what I'm seeing with my eyes, right? So it's like I care more about what my eyes tell me and show me more than what the stats. And then if I see something, I then look for the stats to see if there's validation for that. And I'll take a similar path in terms of what I'm seeing as well as stats. But then to kind of peel it back even more and pull it back even more, it's I will reach my own conclusions, and then I'll look for other experts to either validate or invalidate it, right? If I'm reaching a conclusion about a certain whatever it may be, and I'm firm on that, it doesn't mean that I'm always going to agree with someone else, right? It's like you can, and I always preach that to all you guys out there, like you don't have to agree with every so-called expert, whether they're an ex-player, a coach, whatever. But sometimes when you reach your own conclusions, it will then be kind of validation for what you see. But also have the low ego and the humility to be like, I reached this conclusion, but someone who probably knows more than me is reaching a different conclusion. Let me figure out why. Let me see, am I confused with something? Do I have my own bias, my own blind spot that I have to reevaluate? Whatever it may be. So I just thought this was pretty funny. I'll be honest with you, to see Greg Cosell say this, and then I was just kind of like, well, why are people so strongly against Aaron Rodgers? And then it all connected. I realized, oh, I get it now. I get it. But if we're actually talking about everything that's on the field, Aaron Rodgers is still balling as a quarterback. He needs some help. He needs some support. Yes, he is not as great as he was when he was in his prime, because that's what someone else said. He's clearly not, he's not as good as he was before. Well, yeah, thank you for that very sharp observation. I got news for you. When Tom Brady won the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he was definitely not the prime Tom Brady either. I don't care what any stats will tell you. He was not who he was when he was at his peak powers. And make no mistake about it, that Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense definitely had way more going for them. AB and Gronk alone gave them way more to work with than what Aaron Rodgers and the Jets have. But now adding Davante Adams is definitely going to be really, really interesting. I think that can be, of course, a match made in heaven for him and Aaron, as we've already seen, but also the Jets offense as well. I think it'll open up the field. It'll give Aaron a go-to guy. It'll give the opposing defenses something to have to worry about, which I then will think that Aaron will be able to use to his advantage for the rest of the pieces offensively. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Aaron Rodgers, how he's been playing, how Davante Adams will help out, and what the overall outlook is for the New York Jets? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.